All right. Well, welcome everybody. I know Jerry's going to be looking, just watching, make sure everybody's getting in. So, welcome. If you haven't met me before, or maybe you've seen me on Chef AJ's channel, I'm Kelley Williamson. I am the plant-based kitchenista here in Colorado. So like I said, we are getting thunderstorms rolling in. So sometimes you'll hear big cracks of thunder, and which is kind of nice though, because it was like, I don't know, it was like high 90s today. And they're actually saying we're probably going to break some records here this week. So nice to have some thunderstorms come in and kind of get it down into the 70s, which is great. So hopefully you guys aren't experiencing some bad weather, but from what I've seen across the United States, it looks like everybody's kind of got this bad weather going on right now. So we are going to do a hibachi dinner tonight. So that's why usually I do two recipes, but because there's so much involved in just the hibachi dinner that there's, many different things that you can, do things with, that I figured just stay with the hibachi dinner and not worry about everything else. But this is one of those fun things that you could add. You could add like a noodle salad to, or you could do like, kind of like a sauteed cucumbers, all those fun things. But this is going to be a fun recipe to do. And it's what a lot of my favorites, because it's like all the vegetables and rices. And so it's got starches and everything else that's here, plus great sauces. And so can't ask for much better than that. So we're going to get started. But what I'll do first is I will have Jerry introduce himself, because I think things have kind of calmed down on coming in. But just let you know, we are whole food plant-based. We are definitely with Chef AJ. So we try to do everything without salt. I do have salt on the table if me likes a little bit of salt here and there. Jerry doesn't. So I don't cook with salt. And then we don't cook with any oil. So we do everything with either vegetable broth or stock, white wine, and that's only usually in tomato sauces type of thing. And then, of course, water. So those are the things that we're going to be doing today. So we'll get Jerry introduce himself real quick, and he wanted to show something, and then we're going to get cooking.
Yep. Hey. Sure. Mike.
You can't hold this.
Okay. Hi, everybody. I'm Jerry Casados. Is for those first timers who haven't met me, I'm a plant-based nutritionist. So we've been plant-based now 16 years, hard to believe. I did it for health reasons, my own. Saw Dr. McDougall, went to his 10-day live-in program and got off all meds, lost 35 pounds, all better. And I decided to go back to school, give up a career in IT to share this knowledge and show what he did in 10 days, get people off meds and lose weight and just get healthier. So I'm just here, have a private practice and do free consultations if you guys are interested for nutrition, plant-based nutrition. But I wanted to do a little public service announcement here. I'm going to show you.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned. For those of you who don't know Rip Esselstyn, I'm sure if you're plant-based, you know Rip Esselstyn. He's the ex-firefighter, triathlete. He amazing person, his whole family, but he's the son of Dr. Caldwell Esselstyn, of course. But anyway, he has a lot of products online. If you go to plantstrong.com, he has a lot of products. And I've been experimenting with these pancakes. The pancake mix, yes, different ones, pancake and waffle mix, sweet potato and ancient grains, no salt, no oil, 100% plant, no added sugars. I would recommend, if you don't like to cook, you want breakfast in the morning, it's a good option. Just add a little plant milk with it or water, and you got your pancakes in the morning. So it's really good, actually. So I'll put the link in there for you guys. So if you have nutrition questions, I'll be glad to answer in the chat room. Thank you.
Looks like Mona said, thanks, Mona. So Mona was talking about, just bought those and then bought the new cornbread. So it's arriving. So that's coming up. We actually did the chilies. We did the chilies too. So it was actually, when it was a little cooler out, we did the chili mix. And I think he has like 6 different chilies that are in little boxes and stuff. And he's got, I mean, they're not cheap. There's, put this way, his products aren't cheap, but at the same time, they're really good to have, like Jerry was saying, to have around. So if you're looking for that, if you're working or something, and you're just like, hey, I just would love to have, just a cup of soup or something, then definitely you could do that. And the cornbread mix, I think, was probably really good. He's got cereal mixes, all those type of things. Just, he's a really good guy, and seems to be more he's like, does a lot of like videos and things like that, and talks and stuff, kind of like Chef AJ does, not as much as Chef AJ, but tends to be kind of sitting in that product market, which, that kind of comes and goes. There's people that get in and sell products and stuff, and then they find out it is a lot of work, and it's a lot of, the co-packers and all that, and they get back out of it. So he's staying in there and bringing in different products, which is really nice. So we like it. I will move it closer. Thank you. Is that better? Perfect. Okay, so we're gonna get going. So what I want to do is I want to get the tofu going first because that's one of the things that, it takes a little bit longer to cook versus the vegetables and everything, because we're gonna make sure the vegetables are more of an al dente. So I have firm tofu that has just been kind of soaking on a paper towel, so soaking up all the moisture. You could, you could press it if you want. You could do all that. I just usually put it in something where I can just let the moisture get soaked up. So I'm going to cut it into bite-sized pieces. So I'll probably do a little bit under 1 inch as far as the cuts. And so across the top, usually when I do something that's bite-sized, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cuts on the top. And then what I'll do is I usually will separate them like this, make them little stacks. And then I will usually do 2 cuts on the top. And then stack them up again. And then kind of think about, sometimes if you do the pieces a little bit too small with tofu, it kind of falls apart. So making sure that you have, nice sized chunks. And I'm going to grab the dish, because in that way, when it's on the knife like that, I can just add it to the dish. So I would say it's probably about 3/4 inches. Like that. Shake it up just a little bit because some of the pieces stuck together. So if you're following along, yeah, tofu press that you recommend. So I've got, I think it was called Zen Tofu Press. I used it probably 4 or 5 times. And they are very nice and stuff to be able to get a lot of the moisture out of them. And I got it on Amazon, but at the same time, it's, you can use a plate and a couple things on top of a plate and pretty much do the same thing. It just doesn't get it as much moisture out, but there's tons of them on Amazon that are very inexpensive that work really well. So great question on that. But I think it was called Zen, so Zen was the one I got. If you want to, you can, and if I'm off on that name, then, and you can't find it and stuff, just email me at Kelley, so Kelley at plantbasedkitchen, all together.com. And I'll actually, it's in the basement. So I would go grab it and let you know exactly the one I bought. All right, so we got the tofu. So if you're following along, so we've got it all done. So we're going to add the soy sauce for the tofu, and I make sure I got the right soy sauce. And you could actually soak the tofu overnight. What's really nice about tofu is that it takes on whatever flavor you have, and that's the beauty of having tofu. So you can actually put, all kinds of different like flavors on it. So let's just say that you wanted to put maybe a hoisin, or you wanted to do something that's a little spicy, or Trader Joe's has one I really like. They have a chili lime seasoning blend, and this is really good on tofu too. So right before you get ready to bake it, you just put this all over it, and it gives like a nice little spice. So chili lime seasoning blend, which is fun, something a little different. But just make sure it's all good and covered. Don't stir your tofu too much. I'm just kind of flipping it a little bit because it tends to, of course, fall apart. So that's ready to go. So we're going to put this on a baking sheet, parchment paper. Love parchment paper because it makes for easy cleanup. And this, of course, is low sodium soy sauce. So not having to worry about all the sodium. Or if you don't want to use, you could do the liquid aminos. You could also do the coconut aminos, all those kind of flavors if you don't want to do the soy sauce. Or you can completely switch it up and do some kind of other sauce if you didn't want to do anything with the soy sauce and watch that sodium. Spread them out a little bit. Nice little blocks of tofu going in the oven. And I'll be watching it and flipping it a little bit, just making sure, just so that all the sides get a little bit of toasty brown on it. I'm not going to want it. So sometimes like when you bake tofu for like salads, or you've got wraps or something like that, you really get a lot of the moisture out of it. I'm going to want it where it's more spongy, just because with all the vegetables and the hibachi dinner that we're doing, I want it to be where you can kind of bite into it, but not like soft as normal tofu, but has a little bit of the chewiness. Silicone mats. Yes, I do. So I have silicone mats that I use. I'll show you some. We have lots of them. So there's all kinds that we use. We use these for French fries. So when you have your your potatoes that are baked. Then you have these ones that have the little points on them. And these are really good for French fries because it gets the moisture all the way around. So I have tons of them. Because tonight I had the parchment paper readily available. That's what I use. But great question. But I have like silicone mats, silicone for muffins, all those kind of things, breads, all that. It's really nice stuff. So Amazon, of course, Amazon has everything, but Amazon has really good buys and stuff on silicone a lot. Air fryer, yes, I agree that is Chef AJ's motto. She is all about air frying. She loves everything and loves to, tofu, Brussels sprouts, whatever it is, air fry. I had one of the first ones, wasn't highly impressed with the first one, but is something that we're looking in now because I know that there's all kinds of ovens and really good ones now. The first ones took forever when we first got out, but I've heard that they've really improved. And Chef AJ bugs me every time I'm on her show. Why haven't you have an air fryer? So something I need to look at. I bought the creamy things, so to make the ice creams and all those kind of things. So moving into that for the next one, but I only have so much room for space and storage. All right, so we got the tofu in there. I will watch that when the tofu starts getting towards the end, and I've kind of flipped it a couple times. Then I'm going to add a hoisin sauce to it, so it's going to give some really nice flavor to that. Oh, you know what I forgot to do? Okay, I was talking too much. Let me grab. I forgot to add the cornstarch. Usually everybody will tell me that, hey, you forgot something. So let me just pull this back out. Because the nice thing about cornstarch is it gives you that crispiness. So all I do, let me just grab the parchment. And then I'm going to add the cornstarch. So cornstarch, arrowroot, tapioca flour, whatever you want to do. I always look for, if I get a cornstarch, I always look for the non-GMO. So making sure that, we're not getting those bad ingredients. So I'm just going to toss this in there too. Do a little flip. Tofu is one of those really versatile type of ingredients because, you could actually do like a mix and use cornflakes, and then you could make like tacos with cornflakes on the tofu. Really good, really nice and crunchy. Let me just add this on real quick. I want to get this back of the oven. Spread it out. But if you decide don't want to do cornstarch, don't worry about it. It wouldn't have hurt it at all. I have 2 creamies. So creamies in the freezer now. One nutmeg notebooks, chocolate fudge. Oh, that sounds good. And 1 strawberry. That is my recipe. Okay, Mona, you have to share the recipe with me. I have it. I bought it, and it's been sitting in the box because it's been a little bit crazy work-wise, and because I do have a full-time job and stuff, and our hospital's acquiring, and it's crazy. But yeah, you need to share those recipes. Love to hear more. All right, so we've got the tofu in, so everything's good with that. Like I said, I'll add the hoisin sauce a little bit. Hoisin sauce is, pretty much in all of your regular markets and things. Great, great to have. You could just do a regular teriyaki if you didn't want to do the hoisin, because some people like, I don't like it because it's too sweet. So you could do a teriyaki sauce. You could do, just add some coconut aminos. Or you could just say, you know what, I'm going to leave it plain like what I have there with just the soy sauce and the cornstarch. And then when we do the yum yum sauce, which can be drizzled all over everything, you could just use that too. So many different ways that you could look at making this recipe your own. All right, so we've got the veggies, we've got fried rice, and we got the tofu done. So I'm going to go ahead and make the yum yum sauce. So on there, it says, on the yum yum sauce is we need to have 1 cup of vegan mayo. So I'm going to make the vegan mayo because it's not something that I go out and purchase, because usually they have a lot of oils and things in it and a lot of ingredients you don't really want if you're trying to live that really healthy lifestyle. So I noticed on the recipe I didn't put what the vegan mayo is. I think a lot of people know how to make it and they have ones that are favorite, but I'm going to walk you through how I make vegan mayo. And I've even taught Jerry how to make, so if I'm not around, he can make vegan mayo, which is really nice too. We probably always have a container like this size and stuff full of vegan mayo in the refrigerator at all times, because we're doing, we'll do like mock tuna salads. We'll do like avocado, lettuce, and tomato sandwiches, all kinds of things like that that you can use the mayo for. So wraps, it's good too. Because you can, one of the things that you do when I give you the recipe for the mayo, you can actually start adding like harissa. You could add, like hot flavors, cool flavors, Mediterranean flavors to your mayo, and then can make up something completely different. So 1 block silken tofu. And if you're not familiar, I always try to get so it's the Mori New, which I know they carry on Amazon, but they also carry in almost all of your natural grocers type of stores. These are great. These are shelf safe. So they stay within your pantry. And of course, I always get the extra firm, but they have tons of different ones. There's like 5 or 6 different ones, but these are great because they don't take up refrigerator space. And we all know how much we like our refrigerator space. So those are great. If Jerry wants to type in the thing, I'll pass that over to him and let him do that. Yeah, non-GMO, all the good things, but it's just, there's very little moisture to it. And it, like I said, it's really good shelf safe for a long, long period. So when I go to the store, I think they're either $1.99 or $2.99 a piece, and I'll buy like 10. And then I'll just keep them on the shelf. So whenever I get ready to make mayo, it's right there. Or any other kind of ingredients. Okay, so I've got that. Then I'm going to add, it's about 2 tablespoons of lemon juice, because you want that citrus. And then my favorite, of course, is always Dijon. If you don't want that kind of a mustard flavor, you could leave the Dijon out and just make it very, just a very mild type of mayo. But I always like to add that little extra kick of the Dijon. And then if I'm going to add something like harissa or something else into it, then, you can just squirt that into, and it just gives you that really nice rounded flavor. So that's pretty much it. You could put in the pink Himalayan salt if you want. You could put in some garlic, powder, whatever you want to do that. But that is the 3 ingredients I put in all of our mayo. And then like I said, I'll add in other flavors if I'm looking for a wrap or something like that. So then just goes on the blender. And then of course, depending on the size of your blender bowl here, then I'm going to mush everything down a little bit. If it seems a little dry or something, you can always add just a little bit more of the lemon juice, or you could add just a little bit more water. But if you just give it a minute, it pretty much will come up really creamy. Just check it out, make sure we're good. I just bought this actual blender part of it just probably about a month ago. It's a lot bigger than my other one, so it tends to spread out like if I've got small ingredients or small amount of dressing stuff, tends to spread it out a little bit more than my other one did. It was more straight up and down. So sometimes I have to do a little bit more cleaning up. All right, there we go. Throw that there. So I'm going to leave it in the blender, but of course your mayo. There's the mayo, all ready to go. So I'll be using that here in just a second for the yum yum sauce. Let me get it ready. So my yum yum sauce, like I said, that's going to be what we're going to spread over, that you'll be able to use for dipping for vegetables if you want, or you can actually use it for, just to kind of to pour over all the rice and everything else. So I'm going to measure out about a cup, and then the rest will go in the fridge. It smells really good. The Dijon in anything is good. So this one, so just making it with that, it's probably makes about a cup and maybe about a half that you end up with and stuff for the mayo. Not too bad. Okay, I almost put it in the water. I'm going to put that to the side, just cover that up. I will deal with that later. All right, so we've got the 1 cup of vegan mayo. You've got 2 teaspoons of tomato paste. Just rinse this off. So the tomato paste, I usually, because it's, a lot of recipes only ask for like a teaspoon, tablespoon. So I've now gotten to where I buy the tomato paste and the squeeze tubes, because that way I can just keep it in the pantry. And then I can just, use how much I want versus taking a 6-ounce can, taking 2 teaspoons out and end up freezing the rest. So it's kind of nice just to have a little bit of what you need. So that's kind of one of my, I guess, my chef tips is makes it easy and you don't waste, which is really nice. Then we've got 2 teaspoons of rice wine vinegar. Rice wine vinegar, use that a lot. I go through a lot of rice wine vinegar for recipes. That off the side. Okay, and then if we're looking at the recipe, then we've got, so a teaspoon of paprika. I use smoked paprika is the only one that I use. And then raw cane sugar. If you want, you can switch that out for, say, like maple syrup, date paste, agave, whatever your monk fruit, any of those different flavors that are sweeteners and stuff that you'd like, or you could taste it, because especially like vegan mayo and everything else can be a little bit more sweet. You may say, I don't want it at all. And then 1 teaspoon of garlic powder. So those are your flavors. Make sure it all comes out. Whisk it up without, as I said that, without spilling. Of course, with the smoked paprika and the tomato paste, really nice color. So you're going to have a nice kind of a reddish brown color. And then I'll taste it here in just a second. Wash my hand. All right, let's taste it so I can tell you what the flavor profile is. Don't need that much. Because of the smoked paprika that I have, but regular paprika is going to change it a little bit. It's got a nice smoky, but kind of like a little bit of tomatoey flavor. And then when you've got the hoisin and everything else in there, good, really good. So I'm just going to set that to the side. This is one of those ones you could make the night before, put a lid on it, put it in the refrigerator, ready to go. And if you wanted it, it's pretty thick. So if you wanted it to make it like a little bit more like where you could just drizzle it and stuff, then you could add some vegetable broth or water to it and then just keep kind of beating it up and then make it a little bit more even. And I'm going to do that. I'm going to just add a little bit of water, just make it a little bit more where it's creamier versus thicker. So I'll just do that. That's going to go in a dipping dish. It's a little bit creamier. Done. Okay, so I'm just going to set that to the side. For right now, won't put into the fridge, will be good since we're making dinner. Lucky Jerry, as most people would say. Let me look at the tofu. I can show you real quick. It's already starting to brown a little bit. So already starting to see some browning with the tofu. So I'm just gonna kind of just turn it a little bit. There we go. Back in the oven. All right, so we got the yum yum sauce done. So veggies is going to be the next thing. So we've got mushrooms, zucchini, and we've got broccoli. We've got in the fried rice, we're going to have the peas and carrots and onions, and then we also have onions for the veggies. If you wanted to really, kind of mix this up, you could add like purple cauliflower, all the different colors. You could add even some more carrots and all that just to make it even prettier. But these are the normal vegetables and stuff that you would see on the hibachi dinner. So we're going to get this started. I think I'll change the pan. I'll use that one for the fried rice because we got a lot more veggies. Okay, vegetable broth or stock or water. At the side there. And then if we're following along, so because I need to follow my own recipes, because otherwise I forget things and that kind of stuff. Otherwise, if I'm just cooking for home here, I would just be adding things, doing things and stuff. But since I'm doing a cooking class, I need to make sure I follow what's going on. So we're going to add the veggies. So we'll go ahead and do. So one of the things is don't put too much vegetable broth to start, because you've got two pretty much water vegetables. You've got zucchini, which is going to put off a lot of moisture. You also have mushrooms. And depending on the mushroom, they usually put out a lot of moisture, and you don't want to get too much where you're going to have to drain off. So we kind of start with a little bit, and then you can always add more. So let's get the onions in first. So just nice. I just use white onions, but you can use anything that you want. Nice little thin slices. So I'll just kind of separate them out a little bit. If you don't like onions, then leave them out. You're going to have lots of different things like garlic and all kinds of other things that are added in. So if you don't like garlic, leave that out. I've heard, lately there's been some people that have been allergic to garlic. So if that's true, then leave the garlic out. Okay, nice onion. You could also mix in like red onion, like red onion and yellow onion, and just have for some different colors, which would be really pretty. So we got that in there. So we're going to get that a little stir. I think there's nothing better smelling, at least this is what I think, nothing better smelling than when you get like a cooking class going and you've got the onions and the garlic. It's always a good smell. I used to, when I was doing classes at like natural grocers and their kitchens, and we're talking about bringing those back. But when we were doing things like that and stuff, I would just start the garlic and the onions, or I would toast up nuts, and like everybody would be coming in the store and they're like, oh my goodness, what are you cooking? This smells so good. And I'm like, well, right now it's just garlic and onions or nuts. Nuts always smelled like I was baking cookies. All right, so gave the onions just a couple minutes. So I think what I'm going to do is I'll kind of go with the ones that take a little bit longer to cook, which of course is broccoli. So I just took, broccoli and just cut them up into little bite-sized florets. And those are ready. I love broccoli. Great vegetable to have around the house all the time. That a little quick stir. I'll give that a minute. So when we're going through it, so we're going to add the roasted. So I want to talk a little bit about the roasted garlic. So that's funny. We eat a lot of garlic. So last night I just took a bulb of garlic. So just the regular bulb. I just put it right on the rack and stuff when I was, we were doing French fries, because Jerry was having his hamburger and French fries. But it's a veggie burger and fries. And so I just put the garlic on there and then let it cool. And then of course, just, pull out each one of the garlic cloves. And then I just took a fork to it and mushed it up. So it's been sitting in the fridge overnight. So the other part of the recipe is adding a 1/4 teaspoon of ground ginger into that, and then mixing it up. So this is what I'm going to add to a lot of the different recipes, and it's going to go here in the veggies. So you're going to get a lot of garlic. So I think it's Lisa that said, love the garlic. You're going to get a lot of garlic flavor in these things, and a little bit of ginger. So if you wanted to, and you had the roasted garlic and you said, I don't want to add the powdered ginger, I want to add fresh ginger, you could definitely do that too. Okay. So we got the vegetables going. Like I said, you're going to want to do al dente. So not overly soft. I know when Jerry and I will go to a restaurant on Fridays and stuff, and Jerry usually gets the veggie plate. So it's like 2 baked potatoes and then a whole bunch of steamed broccoli. We're having a heck of a time right now in the restaurant, because they're like either over steam it where it's so soft it's mushy, or I think one time they tried to microwave it to try to get it through. And then of course, you know what microwave broccoli is? It's like, yeah. So we're working with them. We're like, no, just put it in some water, steam it. It's not going to take very long to steam, and throw it out. That's all we need. But they're used to doing like butter, oil, Parmesan cheese, all that. So, okay, now we're going to add zucchini, and you could actually, split it up a little bit. You could do zucchini and the yellow squash if you wanted to. I have noticed in Colorado though, the yellow squash is a little bit harder to find. It's strange because we'll go in the grocery store one week, and I know we've done some recipes where fennel is You can get, I mean, it's like all over the you know, all over the veggie sections and stuff. And then the next week you go in and there's like no fennel to be found. So Colorado's a little strange on like what's available and what's not available. So we just make do. Then I'm going to add in mushrooms. So all I did was just quarter them. Same thing with zucchini. I just did it in quarter sizes. And that way, you know, like when you get like broccoli and you've got the zucchini and then you've got a mushroom, you kind of get like same size of things once everything cooks down, which is really nice. They always talk about like in chef shows and stuff that the perfect bite, and the perfect bite is like you can put your fork into something like that. You've got like many different things like this, and you can get the mushroom, the onion, the broccoli and everything all in the perfect bite. So nice, because this gives, I mean, look at that. That's a lot of veggies. So this is just for the hibachi dinner, but at the same time, let's just say tomorrow, you decide you just want to do this, you know, just over the rice, or you want to add a baked potato in, you're going to have quite a few veggies. They're going to be ready for that. Let me just do a little bit of the garlic and the ginger. Yeah, that's true, Lisa. You are exactly right. So Costco is a great place. So Costco used to be one of those places that you're kind of like, well, if I want really, really, you know, healthy vegetables and stuff, it wasn't a good place to go. But now they've gotten really good about like all of their everything, like almost all their vegetables and fruit now. And I was looking for are organic. And so they have a really good pack of zucchini and yellow squash that's pretty inexpensive. And it's usually like 3 or 4 yellow squash and 3 or 4 zucchini. And that's great because like in the mornings, you know, if you're following like Chef AJ and you want to have like zucchini and yellow squash with maybe some coconut aminos or something like that, then you could just cook it up and use it. It's really good. I buy like the big packs of broccoli, the green beans, all those at Costco whenever I can get there, because I try not to go there on Saturdays and Sundays. It's too crazy, just too crazy. I'm just letting it sit for there. Let me just check the tofu. I'll show you real quick. More browning going on. It's looking really good. And you can see that it's still a little spongy, so it still needs to go a little bit more. But it's getting a nice crispiness on it because of the cornstarch. I am not a mushroom fan, so this is a lot of mushrooms for me, but Jerry loves them. So I will, the perfect bite will not include mushrooms for me. I will actually put those on Jerry's plate. All right, let's just taste one. That's about right. When you can, like it's not chewy for the broccoli, and that's the best one to taste. Not chewy for the broccoli, and it just kind of gives it a nice little crunch. It's ready to go. So it looks nice. Your broccoli's beautiful and dark green. Your zucchini's not broken down. Your mushrooms are still whole. They're not all squishy. So that's like almost the perfect of where you want them to be. Down on there for a minute because we're going to be into the vegetables here soon. All right. So now fried rice. So I guess, plant-based version of fried rice. But you know what? Anything that has fried rice and vegetables and all that, up my alley. Okay, so last night in the Instant Pot, which I'm sure you guys, almost everybody has Instant Pot. Was sorry to hear about the Instant Pot, what bankruptcy, but I think they're coming back out of it. That was sad. And I was like, oh, because they were doing so great as a company. But I just did 2 cups of dry. And so this is, you know, this is just whatever your favorite brown rice is, or white rice, whatever you decide that you want. Jasmine. I mean, there's so many rices out there. This is just a regular brown rice that I use. And so it was 2 cups of dry. And then so I've got a little over 4 cups of the cooked. So all I did is I just put it in Instant Pot, let it cool down, put it in the refrigerator, and it's all ready to go. So I have that. I have diced onion. I have, how easy can this get? Frozen peas and carrots. But you could do the same thing if you wanted to. You could cut up your own carrots and steam them up, and then you've got regular frozen peas. Since I liked adding those two, I'm actually going to add a little more than what the recipe says. That way it just has, it's just like tons and tons of vegetables, which can't beat that. All right, so if we're looking at, so the fried rice, so we're going to do vegetable broth. All right, we've got that in there, and then we've got, we're going to add the onion and then the frozen vegetables. So we'll do the onion. We'll do that first. Tofu looks good, thank you. How do you cook the rice in the Instant Pot? Great question. So the regular, so I'm assuming you probably have, an Instant Pot. So what I do is I just put in, there's just the regular measurement. So for this recipe, because you wanted 4 cups cooked, I just put in 2 cups dry, and then I put in about 4 cups of water, but you could also do vegetable broth depending on, what flavor profile you're looking for. And then I just put the lid on and everything. And then I hit the rice because they have a rice dial on there. But because sometimes, depending on the rices that you use, sometimes the rice, when you push the button, it says, I think it's 30 minutes. It works fine, but sometimes it overcooks it. So I actually took it because this one's Three Sisters brown rice that's out there, and it actually needs about 21 minutes. So I just took it, did a manual and put it down to 21 minutes and then just let it go through it. And then that's when the rice comes out and it's just nice and fluffy, dry. It's exactly how I want it to be. So pretty much just, just like I said, just play with it. I would say some rices can go, like if you're kind of into the white or the really light brown rices, probably 15 minutes. But if you want to make sure that it's really good, probably 15 to 20 minutes. And this one was a real hearty one, was like 21 minutes, and it came out perfect. Then I just let it sit there because I was watching TV and doing a couple other things. And so I just let it sit there, and I didn't have to worry about the, letting the hot air out and all that kind of stuff. And I just let it sit. And then once it cooled down, pulled it out. Yep, I didn't do a quick release. I just let it natural release. And I've done both because it's like, if I'm making it for dinner, then I'll do a quick release on it. But since I was like, I didn't care, and I had, like an hour before, bed and all that kind of stuff, I just did it, just let it sit there and just let it start where it comes into the warming stages and it says, hey, I'm keeping it warm for you. And then once that was done, I just opened it up, put the rice in a bowl like this, let it set out for just a little bit and cool down. And then I put it in the fridge. So real easy, but great questions on that. Best rice, best beans, I think. And I know some people will say it's a rice cooker is better for rice. And I think it's, whatever your preference is, but I would say best beans overall in an Instant Pot. We cook a lot of like pinto beans and black beans and things, and we'll do them for about anywhere from 60 to 65 minutes. And the way that it just keeps everything together and everything. Oh my God, that's kind of like the water around it turns into a bean sauce, and nothing better than pinto beans in an Instant Pot. And it does. And as Jerry said, keeps all the nutrients in there. All right. So I just made sure the onions were cooking a little bit. So now I'm going to add the peas and carrots. And this, by the time I did these 2 little things here, so I think we said on here, we said 1 cup. This is actually 2 cups, and it was about a half of the small little pack of the frozen vegetables. So if you really like peas and carrots, which I do, with 4 cups of rice, I could just add the whole entire bag into it. It wouldn't hurt my feelings at all. And you'll notice too, like then the one Jerry bought and stuff, because he bought one that was organic, it has like big pieces of carrots. If you wanted, smaller pieces, you could just chop them up. But what an easy way to do a recipe. So let that go for just a minute. Okay, so making sure we've got everything in there. Then we've got the soy sauce here we're going to add in a minute, but I'm going to add that when I put the rice in. We got a little bit of the roasted garlic butter, so I'll add a little bit more of that. And I don't think I need it for anything else, so we're just going to add the rest. So I don't want to have to worry about keeping it. But if you like it that much, make a whole bunch up and then keep it. And then you could use it for all kinds of different recipes that you have that you're going to be doing for the week. It's what I do. When I find things that I like dressings and things like that, I will actually make up like a whole bunch and put it like in jars like this. And then we have, maybe 2 or 3 different dressings and all those kind of good things for the week. But I always say, make it easy. Cook once, eat many times. That garlic and the ginger smells really good. Okay, so we've got everything in there and we're gonna let that cook. And then we're gonna add in the rice. Give a quick stir. Just about another minute or so for tofu. And I'll show you that. Since I had a little bit over 4 cups. May not add all of it in there. Kind of just proportioning out the measurements so that I have lots of vegetables showing. Did you notice I'm touching the pan? Induction and stuff, so the pans they cook really well, but they don't, like on the edge and stuff, it's not hot. It's kind of nice to be able to hold the pan and not have it slide all over the place. All right, add the soy sauce. Same thing, coconut aminos, low sodium soy sauce, whatever you would like. You could also just leave it out. Boy, that smells good. As Emerald used to say, Emerald Lagasse, way back in the day, he had like one of the first not really, he wasn't the first because it was like everybody else, but when he had one of the like big televised cooking shows and stuff, he used to say, everybody needs smell-o-vision. He said, wouldn't it be great? You could smell everything that I'm cooking. Show you what it looks like. There we go. Yeah. So taste-wise, you can taste a little bit of the garlic, a little bit of the ginger. You could add more ginger if you wanted to, if you really like a big ginger fan. A little bit of the soy sauce and everything, but really good. You could actually, like the next day, you could actually mix up some of the tofu in here, so like chop it up and then have like the, just, this could be just a bowl too. That's delicious. None for Jerry. Okay, let me grab the tofu. I think we have everything done. So we had the roasted garlic. So we did that already. We've got the yum yum sauce. Yep, we got the veggies. We've got everything. So there's my tofu. I'm going to add the hoisin sauce to it here, but you can see, so here's a little warm, but here's like what you're looking for. So you want that little bit of squish. So it still gives you that kind of that mouth feel, especially when you're doing something that's tofu teriyaki, but you don't want it where it's so dried out. It's like little chunks of chewy, too chewy. There we go. Hoisin sauce. And this is when it's nice to have the parchment paper or the silpats or whatever, whatever you're using, because when you're trying to do things that are like kind of like this type of a stuff where it has a lot of liquid, then you don't have to worry about it. You can just pull this off and then you don't have like all of your trays and stuff are not all crazy dirty or burnt on and you have to sit there and scrub with Brillo pads and all those yucky things. I've done that before. Then I'm going to put this back in the oven. That way, what's going to happen then, and I'm going to put a little bit of sesame seeds and things on it, and then I'll pull it out and I'll put some more sesame seeds. It's going to make it, thicken up a little bit of the hoisin sauce. Just spread that out. Sticky. I'm looking forward to the rice. That was really good. Nice way to get lots of rice in your diet, but have really good flavors around it. So it's not just rice. So that's what it's going to look like here in a second. So I'm going to put sesame seeds, so it'll bake into that. I have the regular, just organic sesame seeds, and they also have the black sesame seeds. I'll use the black ones here when I actually start putting the plate together. So let me just get this in the oven so I can get things set up. Sticky everywhere. Onions flying. All right. Plate. Veggies. Yum yum sauce. So I think I'm going to make it just even a little bit more creamy. Depends on the silken tofu. Sometimes you'll get it where it'll make things that are like almost too runny, and then sometimes it'll be a little too thick. So this one's a little bit drier, so just add a little bit of water to it. Next day too, when it kind of hardens up a little bit more, same thing. You just add some water to it. So the yum yum sauce goes into a little dish. Have it off to the side. There. Yeah. All right, so then we've got, a couple different things we're going to do just to make it pretty. So we've got rice. I think what I'll do is I'll grab a bigger spoon. This is kind of a fun thing. Truthfully, if it was just Jerry and I made this for one of the night's dinners and stuff, I would not do it as fancy. I would put the bowls and stuff out and away we would go. But do a cooking class. So got to make it a little bit prettier. And then it makes also pretty pictures. So I just put it in just like a little round bowl. If you had a square, sometimes I've seen, like where you have the little molds that are triangles, so if you're doing it for a dinner party, you could do, everybody's plate could have a triangle of rice, fried rice and stuff. So kind of fun to just put the rice in there, pat it down, pull that off to the side. Flip it over. So you have this cute little mound of rice. Jerry's like, that's my plate. So you got that. You've got the vegetables. Let me check the tofu. Just about there. Okay, so I got the vegetables. And then let me just grab a bigger spoon. One side. And this would be where, if you like for really beautiful plates, because a lot of things are the greens and the browns and things like that are on here. If you wanted something that was even prettier, think about if you did red peppers and, like all the sweet mini bell peppers and those kind of things you could add. There's so much color that you could add to these. I'm just going to add a couple for. Couple more pieces like that. Perfect. Tofu coming right now. And this I'll probably just keep it on the side because there's so much good tofu that I'd kind of like to be able to keep the tofu on there. But if you have big enough plates, of course, then you can go ahead and just add, you could add the like smaller things of little, of the yum yum sauce right in the middle. Actually, I could probably do that still. So the hoisin sauce is actually gelled up a little bit more, thickened, really nice. All right. Yum yum sauce. Just a little bit more vegetables just to fill things in. You could also do two little mounds of the rice if you wanted to, because like I said, it's really good. White sesame seeds. Black sesame seeds. Black sesame seeds are just beautiful when you actually put them on things. They're just, I love them just because I use them more for look than anything else. Nothing better than when you do like kimchi cucumbers and you've got a little bit of the black sesame seeds on it. It just brightens the whole dish. And then I forgot scallions. So I have a little bit of chives. So adding just a little bit of greenery. I think I'll stick just a little bit on the. And guess what? It's dinner. There we go. So, that's being anal retentive. Just what I did, but I know that'll make the pretty picture. So there is our hibachi dinner. So we basically have all of the veggies. So like I said, you could add whatever color veggies you want. You could add some purple cauliflower in there. I mean, the prettier the veggies and stuff, the better, the way I look at it. We have the fried rice, which is, like I said, is really, really good. One of my favorites. We have the yum yum sauce. So that is where you can drizzle it on everything, or you could just use it to dip the vegetables in. And then you have your teriyaki, basically your hoisin teriyaki tofu, all ready to go. And that's a baked tofu. So luckily, somebody is going to be dipping a big fork in here in this plate here soon. And as I can see it right now, he's drooling on it. So as like Mona and other people that have been on these calls and stuff will say, Jerry's a very lucky guy. So this gets to be his dinner tonight. So I hope you guys enjoyed. So I know I don't have classes up there for August. I will try to get them up this week or even tomorrow. And if not by the end of this weekend, I'll get August classes and try to work through September. But join me also on Chef AJ's channel. I make sure that I was trying to think what's coming up. I think it's Tuscan orzo pasta and a great salad that goes with that. No, wait, bibimbap bowls. That's what's coming up this time. And then the next month is going to be, so August will be that. And then the next month will be like Tuscan orzo. So hope you guys enjoy me there. And that would be great. But otherwise, I hope you guys enjoyed. And bon appetit. It's dinner time. Love you guys. Bye.
Thank you, Kelley.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Bye.